Here is a number that should make you angry because almost nobody says it out loud. Almost $5,000. That is how much extra you hand over if you carry a $3,000 balance on a credit card at 24% interest and you only ever make the minimum payment. You pay back the original $3,000. Then you pay nearly $4,900 more on top of it. You pay back almost $8,000 on a $3,000 purchase. And the cruel part, it takes you about 15 years to do it. 15 years to clear a balance that did not even feel that big. Most people think a credit card is just a card. It is not. It is a quiet little machine, and when you carry a balance, that machine is pointed directly at your paycheck. This is not a penalty for messing up. It is the system working exactly as designed. In the next few minutes, I am going to show you how it makes money off you, and the one 10-minute move that flips it back in your favor. So let me show you what is actually happening under the hood, because once you see it, you can never unsee it. A credit card is really a short-term loan that resets every single month. If you pay your full balance before the due date, here is the beautiful part. You pay 0 interest. The card is free. You get the rewards, the protection, the float, all of it, and it costs you nothing. The trouble starts the moment you carry a balance. Whatever is left over gets charged interest. That interest rate is your APR, the annual percentage rate, and in recent years the average has hovered around 24%. Now watch what 24% a year really means month to month. It is 2% every single month on what you owe. On that $3,000 balance, that is $60 in interest in month 1 alone. And here is the trapdoor, the piece almost nobody understands. The minimum is a percentage of your balance. It is usually about 1% of what you owe, plus that month's interest. So your first minimum is around $90, but $60 of that is just interest. You barely touch the balance. And because the minimum is a percentage of your balance, it shrinks every single month as the balance drops. The payment floats down right alongside what you owe. That is the engine of the 15 years. The lower your balance gets, the less they ask for, so you never build momentum. The card company does not need you to fail. It just needs you to keep paying the minimum. Here is why this matters to you specifically and why it is so easy to fall for. The shrinking minimum floats down on purpose. It is not a friendly suggestion of what is fair. It is the lowest amount that keeps you in good standing while keeping you in debt for as long as possible. If the payment stayed fixed, you would actually claw your way out. But because it is a percentage of the balance, it keeps getting smaller, so the debt just stretches across the years. And there is a cold business reason for that. To a credit card company, a customer who carries a balance is far more profitable than one who pays in full. The person who pays in full is basically free to them. The person who pays the minimum is an income stream. So when you pay just the minimum, you are paying that month's interest, plus a tiny sliver of principal, and renting the rest of the money for another month. Now here is the part that should give you hope, because the same math that traps you can free you fast. Take that same $3,000 balance, but instead of the shrinking minimum, you lock in a fixed amount. $150 a month, no matter what. Because you refuse to let the payment float down, it is gone in about 2 years instead of 15, and you pay around $870 in interest instead of nearly $4,900. That one change, paying a fixed amount, saves you roughly $4,000 and 13 years of your life. That is the whole game. Let me make this real with someone who could be anyone. Meet Elena. She was 23. She had carried a credit card since college and told herself she would pay it off when things settled down. The balance just sat there at $2,800. Elena was not reckless. She never missed a payment. She paid the minimum every month, sometimes a little more. She did not really think about the APR because nobody had ever explained it. Then one night she actually read her statement, the little box that every card is required by law to print. It said that on minimum payments she was heading toward about 15 years and over $5,000 in interest. She stared at that for a long time. Then she did 2 things. First, she called the card company and asked for a lower rate. They dropped her from nearly 27% to about 23%. Then, and this was the real move, she stopped paying the shrinking minimum and committed to a fixed $200 a month. Her balance was gone in about 17 months, under a year and a half. Total interest paid, under $500, instead of the more than $5,000 she was headed for. She saved roughly $4,600 in over a decade of her life. She kept the card. Now she pays it in full every month and the card is free. What changed for Elena was not income. It was not willpower. It was simply understanding how the thing worked. So here is what a credit card is really trying to teach you. When you carry a balance, that money in your pocket is not free money. It never was. It is a rented sum, and the interest is the rent. Every single month you do not pay it off in full. The store is charging you rent on money you already spent and already enjoyed. That dinner, those shoes, that flight. You finished them months ago and you are still paying rent on them. That reframe changes everything, because once you see the balance as rent, paying it off stops feeling like a chore and starts feeling like a raise. Getting rid of a 24% balance is a guaranteed 24% return on your money. There is almost no investment on earth that reliably beats that. But, and this matters, do not walk away hating the card itself. Used the right way, the card is just a tool, and a powerful one. Pay in full, on time, every month, and you build credit, you earn rewards, you get protection on your purchases, and you pay nothing for any of it. The card is not the enemy. The carried balance is. Same piece of plastic, two completely different machines. So here is the move. One action. This week, if you carry any balance at all, do this before you do anything else. Pick up your phone and call the number on the back of your card. I used to think negotiating with a credit card company was something only powerful adults got to do. It is not. You just ask. Say something simple. I have been a customer for a while, I make my payments, and I would like a lower interest rate. That is the whole script. And here is the part that surprises everyone. It works about 70% of the time. If the first rep says no, hang up and call back. Different person, different answer. Then the second half of the move, and it is the part that actually breaks the trap. Pay a fixed amount every month instead of the shrinking minimum. Pick a number you can hold steady and never let it float down with the balance. Even $50 extra a month held fixed bends that 15-year timeline down to a couple of years. And while you are in there, set up auto pay for that fixed amount so you never miss a payment, because a missed payment is worse than a carried one. 10 minutes on the phone. That is the best paying 10 minutes of your week. Here is the thing to remember on the drive home. The credit card company has already read the terms of your agreement very carefully in their favor. The whole machine runs on the quiet bet that you never will. So this is your turn to read them too. Find your APR. Read the little box on your statement. Make the call. The card was never the trap. Not knowing how it works was. Now you know. That is the entire job of this whole series. Handing you the money class you never got in school, one number at a time. Go put it to work.